I'm great. It's the little things for me. Like lemon pepper wings and a very busy NFL news day.
Wow.
This morning, yes.
So Deshaun Watson has officially requested a trade from the Texans per league sources. Now, let's just start with this. This doesn't happen. You sign in the NFL after your contract, they extend you, then you're franchise tagged. You don't get 25-year-old star quarterbacks on the market. This does not happen. Ever. The last, quote, star quarterback on the market was Kirk Cousins. All right? In the history of the NFL, this doesn't happen. He wants out. So now, that's the first thing. This is unbelievable. The second thing is this. He's got a no-trade clause. He has to approve it. So let's just not make up crazy scenarios. He's not going where he doesn't want to go. There are 8 teams that will be at least talking about it. I'm not going to count the Colts because the Texans are not going to trade him in division and play him twice a year. I'm not counting them. And I'm not counting the Saints, who are $100 million over the cap, so they can't sign an expensive quarterback. Okay, just take them out. Here's the 8. Jets, Miami, New England, Carolina, 49ers, Washington, and Chicago. Now, I'm going to put them in order as if I'm Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying the team that has the picks that can make it work. I'm Deshaun Watson. What would I choose based on a variety of factors? Number 1 would be San Francisco by a mile. Okay, they are, without Deshaun Watson, a top 5 Super Bowl favorite next year. They just had bad injuries. They lost their quarterback. They are stacked, and they're not real happy with Jimmy Garoppolo. So in terms of, I just want to go to a team that can win, they got everything. They are, and after San Francisco, the next 7 I'm going to list, there's a but. I'm Deshaun Watson. I'd go Miami second. Why? I got a really good defense and a really good coach. But they are rebuilding their offensive line. But I don't love their ownership group. Number 3 would be New England. Best football coach ever. Above average defense. Offensive line talent's not bad at all. But they have no weapons. And that division's getting better. They got no weapons. They got no tight ends. They got no wide receivers. They have no star backs. Number 4 would be Washington. But don't love the owner. A lot of dysfunction. You get a great defense. Bunch of first-round picks up front. You got a really good young receiver. And you get a grown-up, an adult, Ron Rivera, who's got a long contract. So he's going to be there a while. That gives me coaching stability. Number 5, and then it gets interesting. Denver is interesting. I really like their young tight end. I really like their young receivers. They've got some really interesting pieces on this roster. I really like them. But Vic Fangio's in his 60s. He's probably an 0-4 start from being fired. John Elway is no longer the GM. They've hired a new guy. But I do like their wide receiving weapon talent. Number 6, I'd go Chicago. Love their defense. Love the city. But the GM and the coach are on the hot seat. They could both be gone by Thanksgiving. I don't like that instability. I get to face Aaron Rodgers twice a year. Be good for my PR, my billboard campaigns. I mean, let's face it, twice a year I'm in the biggest NFL game of the weekend. That'd be awesome for my marketing, my PR. Number 7, Carolina. I really like their coach, and they got some nice weapons. But they're in a total rebuild. You're going to be in shootouts almost every week. Christian McCaffrey, sensational. I really like their weapons. But it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild job. And we don't know if Matt Rule's great yet. I think he is, but I don't know he is. And then number 8, and this is why it's fantastic theater. The Jets have nothing I would want. I want a dependable head coach, ownership, and front office stability and weapons. Just don't have any of it. But of all the teams, this works best. They could give the Texans Sam Darnold. They could give the Texans Sam Darnold and the number 2 pick, so you get Zach Wilson. The Jets makes the most sense by a mile, and I think Deshaun would make it work. And Deshaun has said, I like Robert Saleh. But what is fascinating about this, the Jets are the worst choice, but they're the one organization that the Texans can call and get a future star quarterback, a bunch of first, second, and third round picks. I don't have to play him in division. I won't have to see him very often. In fact, I could get Sam Darnold for a year and a number 2 pick. And then when the number 2 pick's ready to play, I could trade Sam Darnold and get more picks. The Jets make the most sense by a mile, and I think it would be fascinating. But in terms of I'm Deshaun Watson and what I as a quarterback would want, Jets would be 8th. I mean, seriously, ownership do you trust? Front office do you know? Robert Saleh, who knows? Weapons bad, O-line bad. They have one workable running back. They got nothing. But my guess is this morning, the Jets are in the hunt very early for this. We got a 25-year-old star quarterback available to the market. That does not happen in the National Football League. It does not happen. It's crazy. The last star available was Kirk Cousins. All right, so yesterday I talked about something. I called it the mythology of talent. I always hear about talent. Oh, this guy's talented. That guy's talented. Do you win games?
Happy and had asked Houston for a trade. That story is now getting a lot of traction from several reporters. So, Shannon, how do you think this will all play out?
Skip, I'm waving. Sean gone. He doesn't trust Cal McNair. He doesn't like the direction that the organization is going in. He doesn't like the culture of the organization. And like, as I said before, my sources told me that Deshaun is willing to play hardball, if necessary, to get out of Houston. It's as simple as that. Now, the requests were made. We want out. Now, you can say, oh, we'll see, we'll hire this guy, and maybe it's somebody he likes, and he'll come back. I was told there's not a hire that they can hire now that would make Deshaun change his mind.
Yep.
His mind is made up. When you did what you did, when you promised him that you would keep him into the loop of what was going on, and then you did not do that, and then when he pitched a fit about what you were doing, then you circled back and started looking at minorities. He says, I can't trust you because you gave me your word in the beginning. You went against your word. I get upset. So what's to say, Skip, in the future? You says, okay, Deshaun, this is the way we go do it. What's going to say that you won't do that again? You lied before, you'll lie to me again. So Deshaun is done with this situation. Now, the thing now, what can they extrapolate from teams? Knowing that Deshaun Watson won't out, knowing that he's not going back, knowing that he's willing to play hardball in order to get out. Yep. That is the question. Deshaun Watson is not going back to Houston.
First, kudos to you. You've been way ahead of this curve and ahead of this story and all over it, ahead of the pack.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. It now feels like Deshaun dug in on this, according to you, even before this bombshell hire, this out-of-nowhere left field hire came last night of a David Culley. And as I told you earlier, the only reason I know David Culley is because he played quarterback for my school, Vanderbilt, was an assistant there briefly. And every time they had an opening at head coach, his name seemed to pop up. Why he didn't get it, I don't know. But he would always be a candidate to return to Vanderbilt as the head coach. And I did read a report last night that David Culley, as a coach on the Ravens staff, obviously, helped coach Deshaun in last year's Pro Bowl, and that they hit it off or they clicked. But clearly, Deshaun is already out. It transcends who the head coach is. And by the way, David Culley is African-American, so at least for what it's worth, the Texans did hire the only African-American head coach in this hiring cycle.
Right.
It's the last job available of the 7 jobs, and they did hire African-American.
But, Skip, if I can't trust you the coach has a little consequences to the owner.
No.
The owner's going to do what he wants to do, and I no longer trust
what
you.
What did him in was the executive position, the hiring of Nick Caserio as the GM, after the search firm that you paid millions of dollars to came up with 2 possible minority candidates, and you said no to both and went back to the well in New England to hire Nick Caserio.
And the guy, what you say, Easterby? He's the source of the contention.
Yeah, he's the top executive beneath Cal McNair.